One of the golden rules of business that I've learned is don't compete on price, compete in experience. Now, here's what I mean. Of course, especially in Asians, the mentality is if you want to bring in customers, if you're selling it for £5, I'm going to sell it for £3. But here's a problem you'll quickly find. Often in life and in general, there are people bigger than you, better than you, that can sell it for a lot cheaper than you, especially if they want to push you out the market. And even if you run, for example, like a restaurant, you can go out and become the cheapest biryani, the cheapest curry. But the problem you'll quickly find is someone will try and do that out for you. So what you want to compete on, something that you can compete on, and is it actually that fact is the same no matter what you do, whether you're on a care home, whether you're on a builder's merchant, whether you're in a plumbing company. But what they can't compete with you on is experience. If you focus and put your money into, for example, the ambience, the decoration, go the extra mile, the uniformity, the level of service, things that add to the experience in addition to the food. Because let's be honest, a lot of restaurants here in London do good food. If you can compete on experience, all of a sudden you've now given customers a reason other than price, other than something that someone else can take away from you to compete on. Best example of this is sushi. I would argue that if you go to Itsu, the sushi is relatively the same as a Tesco meal though. It's relatively the same as many restaurants that you've been to. It's prepared the same way. But the experience, going out for a dinner, a pretty restaurant, the cocktails, like adding to the sushi, the date night vibes, all of that then lead into the margin that why these sushi restaurants can command such a big price tag. Of course, quality, freshness, all of these things play a huge part. But when you run a restaurant or when you run a business, just competing on price, you'll very quickly realize that you can't just do that.